Signs of a selfish husband and how to deal with him. Kindly subscribe to this channel. It's time to help a lover out. Doesn't express gratitude. Don't expect the selfish husband to express gratitude for something you have done or put efforts into. He might fail to acknowledge them. He thinks it is normal that you do these things. It's part of your job being a wife. If you remind him to say thank you for these things, he just looks perplexed because he has been taking things for granted all this while. Prioritizes himself. Self-absorption is but one of the many selfish husband signs. He never thinks about your well-being or comfort. Their world revolves around one person, themselves. He will not ask you about your likes, dislikes in terms of decisions, big or small. He decides your future plans based on what works best for him. Hardly with you when you need him. Your husband comes home angry at something that happened at work. Of course, you are there for him. Listening to him releases his emotions and calms him down. But should you need him to be there for you when you just have to let it all out, his eyes glaze over in boredom, or he just tunes you out. He has no interest in being there for you as a sounding board and would certainly not think to comfort you when you are under stress. Doesn't accept his mistakes. Admitting he might be wrong would be too much for his ego. Considering he is so self-centered. He cannot see from any other perspective but his own. This means he is always right and will not consider your opinion, even if it is backed up with fact. He highly overestimates his sense of self and underestimates your intelligence. This is why his default position is, I'm right, and you are wrong. Takes all the decisions by himself. Your selfish husband has said yes to plans, neglecting to ask you if you had plans already in place. He would not think of consulting you because his communication skills, as far as you are concerned, are so poor. He thinks that whatever he decides, you will follow without question. The focus is always on him. Whether it's about life decisions or dealing with a stressful situation, he often forgets you and the focus is on him. For such a husband, you don't hold a priority. This, however, can be gradually fixed by putting your foot down whenever you feel you are sidetracked. Marriage is a relationship between equals, and if you don't feel you share the same space, you must put forth your concern. Doesn't know your interests and passions. Long gone are the days that he pretended he was interested in your interests. Not only does he never take an interest, but he doesn't even ask about them. This is just one symptom of the selfish husband's level of self-absorption. He has no idea of what makes you smile and brings you happiness. He just assumes it is him and him alone. Shows complete lack of understanding. Cropped shot. For my birthday, my husband gave me a salad spinner, complained Mary, 30. A salad spinner for a landmark birthday. What I really wanted, had he asked, was a nice bracelet, earrings, anything to mark this occasion. My husband is inconsiderate. The selfish husband is so out of touch with what might bring you delight that he just picks up things with little thought, which he might find at his convenience, not considering if it is something you might want. He hardly makes an effort in knowing you, and this results in having an inconsiderate approach towards you. Expects you to know him well. If you feel he often fulfills his needs by getting this or that for himself but isn't really considerate about your needs, that's the sign of selfishness on his part. For instance, you will spend a lot of time thoughtfully picking things for him and end up finding something he likes. But your effort is something he naturally expects from you but doesn't do the same for you. Never owns his mistakes. Apologies are a sign of weakness, according to the selfish husband. He will never apologize because he never thinks he is in the wrong. Even if something is clearly his fault, he will find a way to blame you for it or look for ways to push it on someone else. His ego always stands in the way. Doesn't share the load. Does your husband go from the dinner table to the couch without bothering to clear his plate? Is the laundry basket overflowing, and all he can say is, "Hey, why don't I have any clean workout clothes?" Remind him that being his maid is not part of your job description. Then, educate him. But most of the time, husbands might not purposely ignore the chores but simply not be aware of them. So, it is essential to bring things to your husband's notice and then gradually begin involving him in the process. Makes the least efforts for you. He isn't mindful of expressing love in any way. He promises things but fails to fulfill them. These are the signs you are dealing with a husband who is selfish. You feel sad as you see other husbands bringing home flowers for their wife or taking time to select a surprise gift, just because. Critical of you. Another of the many selfish husband signs is of being overly critical. He has no problem criticizing what you wear, what you do, your friends, your family. He does this to prop up his low self-esteem and make himself feel big. This is usually a sign of being self-protective. If you and your husband have differing viewpoints, don't expect him to meet you in the middle. There won't be any compromise, and it will be his way or no way. The selfish husband does not understand the concept of compromise because his way is the only valid way. Moreover, he will not even consider thinking about compromising but expect you to do the same because that's how things have been all along. Hardly compliments. For such a husband, you are always sidelined. He won't notice things about you, and as a result, he fails to appreciate you for little things on an ordinary day. So, don't expect him to notice. All he sees is himself and has likely not learned to balance the priorities and giving you a priority in the relationship. The selfish husband kisses, hugs, touching you are just his way of signaling that he wants. How you long for just some lovely massage that puts you right to sleep, without every physical interaction, meaning he wants to make love. Unhappy man tired of shouting woman in bedroom. Once he is done, the game is over, even if you are left unsatisfied. It is usually his means to gaining satisfaction and would not care about your needs. He never worries that he might be a lousy lover. If you do not climax, that is your problem, according to the selfish husband. Disregards your opinions. Even if you are an expert on the subject, he knows more than you do. He will often disregard your opinions on the matter. In the mind of the selfish husband, you know nothing, and he knows everything. The issue is that he has always seen you with such a low regard that even a good advice or a suggestion from you does not have a value. He is likely to do that even in front of other people. Stopped courting you years ago. The romance and he hardly makes an effort to bring it back. While your friends are still enjoying date nights with their husbands, your selfish husband doesn't understand why a romantic evening would be vital. I'm here, aren't I? He responds when you ask if he still loves you. Doesn't do relationship check-ins. The inconsiderate husband doesn't ever ask you, how are we doing? Because he is so self-absorbed. He doesn't even realize his selfishness has relationship consequences. If you attempt a relationship check-in with the selfish husband, he looks at you as if you are crazy. What are we even talking about? Is his attitude. Like and subscribe to this channel.